Welcome to another super exciting HackerRank challenge, and today we are going to be deleting a node from a linked list. We are going to quickly do this and it's really going to be interesting. I'm going to write out the code here while I explain it right here and you see how it works. Anytime you are working with a linked list, always have this scenario in mind. Scenario 1, the head is empty or the linked list is empty. Scenario 2, we have only one node in the linked list which points to none. I mean, this is just one node, the head, and the next is none. Scenario 3, we have the head pointing to a next and pointing to either null or maybe other nodes right here. It could be none, it could also be 1 or 2 or 3 or who knows. So in this case, we are indexing. So we have this to be index 0. We have this is I is equal to 0 here. I is equal to 1. I is equal to 2 upwards. Okay, so let's go solve this. So the first thing we want to check, is to check the position given to us. So if this position is 0, it's simple. So we want to check if the position is 0, then our problem is half solved. Because in this case, we simply also check, because that the position is 0 does not mean we can just return none. We are going to also do check if the head is empty. So we are going to do another check. If head is none, then we are going to return none. Okay, that's fine. We are going to also check that if head.next is none, which is this case, we have head is none, head.next is none. In that case, we also return none because we've deleted the linked list there. So I'm going to say if head.next is none, we also return none. All right, so else, in this case now, we are now in this ring, in this number 3. So else, we are simply going to throw away whatever is here because we are deleting this item here. We are going to just return this pointer. So we are going to just return head.next. So at this point, we are pretty much done with solving half of this problem. Let's now proceed to the next half. So in this case now, we have that the POS is something, right? So I'm going to say here, else. So the first thing we want to do here is to save the head, because in this case now we are not deleting the head. So we are going to save this pointer here to a node. We are going to save it. So let's save it by saying, we are going to save it by saying node is equal to head. So basically we are creating another pointer, this node, we are going to use it to be iterating while the head pointer remains so that we can easily return it. So we've saved it and now we are going to start an index starting from index 1, right? So we are going to start an index starting from index 1. I is equal to 1, all right? All right, so this is where our node is at this point. So at this point, we have to check. We have to start a while loop that continues to check whether there is a next node. So I'm going to start a while loop that says while node dot next is not equal to none. So basically, this is where our node is. So we are going to start by checking while node.next is not equal to none. So it means that there is something here, okay, that is fine. So while node.next is not equal to none, right? So this is where we are while node.next is not equal to none, meaning that there is something here. Now we are going to check if this item here is what is to be deleted. So I'm going to now check to see that if this item here is what is to be deleted. So I'm going to say if POS is equal to I, okay, equal to I. For us to remove the node at point I, we are going to check what is following it. If what is following it is null, we are going to simply set the node.next to none. If you understand what I mean, if what is here is none, right, then we are going to set the node, because this is where we are, node.next is equal to none right here. And in that case, we bypass this guy here. Okay, so let's write it in code. So if we are going to say, if this is the case, POS is equal to I, we're going to use another if statement. If node.next, remember, this is node.next, right? And we're going to check if node.next.next. If this is equal to none, then we are going to simply set node.next to be none. So I'm going to say node.next to be what? To be none. All right. Else, if node.next is not none, meaning that there is something there, so else, I'm going to say else, we are going to simply set node.next to be node.next.next. So we are going to set, instead of setting it to none, we are going to set it to node.next.next. We are going to bypass this guy here. So I'm going to say node.next is equal to node.next.next. So at this point, whether what is following this node.next is none or whatever it is, we are going to bypass that node and then return at the end of this if statement. We are going to simply return the head, because the head is still the pointer here, right here. So this is where we are. So this is still the pointer to the original node right here in the head, because remember we saved it right here. Okay, so at this point, if for whatever reason this guy did not return here, then we are going to move one step further by iterating one step. Moving node is equal to node.next. So we move our node pointer to the next node. So that is, if this guy does not return here, then we are going to move our pointer to the next node by saying node is equal to node.next, and then we increment our I by 1. So this is basically the solution to this problem. And else, we go through this while loop and still nothing was returned. Give me 1 second. So if else, and at the end of the day, nothing is returned, meaning that the position is not in this list, we are going to just return the list. So I'm going to simply return the list here. Return head. So it means that it did not find this position here, and the while loop terminates, then simply return the original list because the position is not in the list. All right, so let's go to HackerRank and let's write this code. I'm going to fast write it but it's exactly the code I wrote here that I'm going to transfer to HackerRank. So I hope it makes sense to you. Let me fast write it. I'll kind of speed up the video while I write. All right, so this is the end. This is the most we can write about in this code, and I think it should work fine at this point. So let me just take some time to make sure everything is fine. So while this loop continues and the loop terminates, we are simply going to return list. So let me just run the code and let's see if everything works. So you can see that it's passed the 2 sample test cases. I'm going to go ahead to submit this code now and let's see. And you can also see that it passed all the 9 test cases and we got the maximum point, which is 5. So I would like to give you a thumbs up. Congrats to you if you've come this far. And I would like to stop here. I would like to recommend you subscribe to my channel And also, please leave me a comment if this has been informative for you. I remain Kindson the Tech Pro. We'll see you in the next challenge, and I'm always there for you.